Islam. The clamor that Islam is avoiding Ilia Topuria has now been addressed by Makhachev's coach, Javier Mendes, who quickly put an end to the discussion, according to Mendes. Ilia has absolutely nothing to do with Islam's decision to move up to 170. In fact, this wasn't some reactionary decision. It's something they've been planning for years, way before Ilia's name even entered the lightweight conversation. Coach also added that if Belal Muhammad had beaten Jack Delamat, Elena Islam versus Ilia would have 100% happened next. The timing would have lined up perfectly with no better option at 155, even though fighters like Gaget and Oliveira are coming off wins. It's clear to hype status as a former champ and undefeated record put him right at the front of the line, and it makes sense if you really break it down. Islam isn't running. He's already done enough to entertain a champ legacy, and with the lightweight title picture temporarily jammed, jumping up for welterweight gold is the next logical step. But it doesn't close the door on Ilia if that welterweight title fight falls apart. Don't be surprised if we're talking Makhachev versus Topuria before the end of the year.
We had that conversation where he told me, Coach, my goal is to, win the more titles here in the lightweight division, defend the title more. And then after that, if a welterweight title comes up, I want to do that. I want to be double champ, And I said, that's a great plan. So this is what's been on stake for him before we even knew who Topuria was. So it had nothing to do with him. It's zero to do with him. It had everything to do with what Islam wanted and the opportunities that presented themselves. And unfortunately, at that particular time, Belal was the champion, but Islam still needed to accomplish the goal of having the most title defenses. But once that was done, now it's like, let me go up if I can.
Yes.
So
yes.
that was the deal there. That was the deal. That's why a lot of waiting was done. No decision was made by anybody until the Belal fight happened, because at the end of the day, I cannot honestly say that they would never have fight. Islam wanted all along 4 to 5 title defenses successfully, then get the welterweight title.
Ball. Muhammad has now spoken out about his loss of the UFC 315 title, acknowledging that he made a crucial tactical mistake by attempting to fight Jack Delatina, who is renowned for his unrelenting wrestling and smothering pressure. Bal chose to trade in the pocket with one of the division's best boxers, foregoing what had made him successful. Jack picked him apart on his feet for 5 rounds, and the battle between Islam and Topuria ended in a unanimous decision loss. Bal had previously used a combination of wrestling and cardio-heavy pressure to neutralize top strikers like Stephen Thompson and Leon Edwards, but he decided to play to Jack's strengths and suffered the price. Weeks later, Muhammad realized that trying to outshine Jack at his own game was a mistake after considering the performance. It's a rare instance of accountability from a former champion who often takes a methodical and intellectual approach. This is not the first time a welterweight champion with a wrestling background has become overconfident.
And obviously for us, what our strategy was to take down Jack. It wasn't to go blow for blow with them, brawl for brawl with them. It's a weird moment when you're training something so much and you're getting better at something, which I think my striking has grown so much, and I always said it. And when I was saying that in the lead up, I wasn't lying about it when I was like, bro, I can box with them. I can strike with them. I'm not afraid to box with them. I'm not afraid to strike with them. And I went out there and I just felt good, man. There's like when they say there's a different energy when you're the champion and you gain 20% better. For me, I always thought I was the best in the world, and I still think I'm the best in the world. And I was like, bro, I can strike with this guy. Like, people are coming at me telling me I can't strike with him. And obviously we lost the fight, but bro, we stood toe-to-toe with them, and people could say whatever they want to say and do whatever they want to do. I went against the game plan. I went on my own.
The rivalry between Islam Makhachev's crew and Chael Sonnen is getting out of control. Due to Chael's recent remarks regarding Makhachev's transition to welterweight in a recent Good Guy and Bad Guy segment with DC, a phone call between Chael and Islam's management has begun to circulate online. The exchange was direct and angry. Charlie caused a sensation by portraying Islam's leap to the 170 as cowardice, notably the avoidance of Ilia Topuria, rather than as ambition. Sonnen portrayed the move as a retreat, claiming that the lightweight champion was effectively fleeing a growing threat. He implied that giving up a title to avoid a competitor was a cowardly move that was unpopular with Islam. Makhachev responded on Twitter, labeling Chael a mediocre athlete who, despite his loud tongue, accomplished nothing in the sport. Chael, however, retreated in his most recent video, claiming that he ever called Islam a coward directly. He continued by disclosing a phone conversation he had with Ali Ab.
I don't think I called him a coward. I definitely don't use the word cowardice. I just don't use the word cowardice. It's too many syllables. I was quoted by somebody in the media as having said that. Now, so what? Well, there was a little bit of a so what. I get a phone call from Ali, and he said to me, my brother, I respect you. We are friends. But, and he begins to defend Islam and Islam's decision to go up to 170 pounds. And I don't argue with him. Now, I don't argue with him because I'm well aware of the decision that Islam doesn't have a problem with Ilia Topuria. This is about, I don't want to beat the scale anymore. I'm good with all of this. You must understand. Well, until there is one. Here's what Islam says. Average athlete who built his way to the top with cheap trash talk won't understand that. So please sit and watch how others doing it, Uncle Chael. That's not very nice right there.
Following the title snub, Movsar Evloev issues a severe warning to Dana White. Despite having one of the longest winning streaks in UFC featherweight history, Movsar Evloev has once again been passed over in favor of a reported rematch between Volkanovski and Rodriguez, which many fans believe is unnecessary given his 9 consecutive UFC victories. Eve currently holds the 4th longest winning streak in the history of the division, but the unbeaten Dagestani star is still just one significant victory away from a championship run. Eve is frustrated, but hasn't given up, saying that he must be the next to defeat another strong candidate. He didn't hold back when he took to Twitter, addressing the UFC president directly, quote, I promised the UFC that I would fight anyone they wanted and that I would no longer be refused if I prevailed. End quote Dana. It's obvious that Evolve's patience is wearing thin, and if he continues to be flawless, it might be hard to stop him the next time. It's becoming more and more difficult to defend leaving Movsar out of the title picture because his resume speaks for itself. He has already amassed a ton of victories over elite players. He most recently erased any questions about his ability to compete with the top by defeating former champion Aljamain Sterling in a commanding performance. In a clinical, high IQ striking and grappling display, he had previously handed Arnold Allen his first UFC defeat. Not to be overlooked is his gritty, blood-soaked victory over Diego Lopez, in which Elov overcame significant adversity to defeat one of the division's most dangerous rivals.